Hello, good evening if you're live, good morning if you're catching it in the morning, good afternoon if you're catching it in the afternoon, and I hope you're enjoying your dinner if you're listening at dinner time. My name's Mike, this is Ant, and this is the FPL, indeed Euro Fantasy in this circumstance, Fantasy Threesome podcast. How are you, Ant?
I'm very well, mate. Yeah, I'm not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. We are missing our anchor, some might say the biggest anchor of all.
Anchor, in fact.
Yeah, for sure. Phil, unfortunately, is not able to join us tonight. I believe he was trying to recreate that Scottish fan kicking the bench, and as a result, has just the one kneecap. But we send him our love, and we look forward to having him back next week. This after you went truant last weekend.
Yeah, well, I was learning about how to manage my time better, which actually apparently is the easiest way to do this. Is just delete all your emails. So there you go. Okay.
Well,
I mean, it is a real shame, no Phil tonight, and it is a shame. He had that wonderful story in the last pod about how he doesn't know how to ride a bike. I was really looking forward to hearing how he doesn't know how to use a knife and fork tonight. So everyone is really missing out. So we hope to have you back on the next one, mate.
Well, look, we're all set. You told me before you came on air that you've got some snacks. Are these Father's Day leftovers?
Oh, yes. Well, my wife forgot to give me my white chocolate coins for Christmas, so I got them for Father's Day instead. Lovely old stuff.
Excellent. I mean, that shows a degree of discipline on her part, really, not to have eaten them in the meantime.
I think she found them hidden under our bed, which is the only reason they weren't eaten. And they hadn't melted, so happy days.
Oh,
and
very
a trusty cup of tea, of course. So
excellent. I too have gone Father's Day for my snacks. And I'd if anybody's listening, want to help me out with this. I've gone Toblerone. It's a bit of a cliche, but Father's Day.
Great shout.
And I would like to know, how do people eat Toblerone? I genuinely don't know how you do it without maybe a knife and fork.
I buy off a triangle in one fell swoop.
How?
The way I do.
How? How does your mouth handle that without piercing the roof of your mouth?
Well, it does, but it's worth the pain.
Okay. Well, I've taken to in support of all those campaigning against climate change, or trying to slow it down. I've taken to eroding each mountain with my teeth,
Very good.
in kind of just scraping away at it until I get a few. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could break it off and nibble. That could be a good alternative.
Can't break it off. I mean, it's just a full size Toblerone. It's not a mini Toblerone. It's the full size.
Oh wow! Oh,
it's
dear.
it's duty free fare. It's not a mini one.
It is a proper one.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how. There used to be a thing, didn't there, that you could only tear if you folded a newspaper so many times. You wouldn't be able to tear it. And I think it's the same with Toblerone. Impossible to break. Anyway, that's the foreplay over and done with. Let's crack on as we talk Euro Fantasy. And just a kind of a word on the tournament, maybe to start with. How have you found it?
I've absolutely loved it. Sorry, I'm now eating. Hang on. I mean, we talked about in the last of our Premier League pods that I hadn't watched a game for about 4 months.
Yeah,
I've watched nearly all of these games, and I've really, really enjoyed it. I really like the 5 o'clock game. Actually, it's an annoying time, but when you've just finished work, it's quite nice to switch on and watch a game. And bar watching England, I'd say there's not been too many boring games, has there?
No,
we've been treated to some really good games. England have been dull, but they've got the job done. But I've really enjoyed it, mate. And actually, I'm glad we're doing the pod tonight because it's filled the void of no games.
Absolutely.
We do feel a bit lost without it, but I think it's been a really good tournament so far. It feels fairly open, apart from Italy, who look really, really good. I think it's quite open. So, yeah, long may it continue.
I mean, we'll get to the draw and who's facing up against who shortly. But Italy, they have impressed, but of course they're in quite a congested side of the draw, in there with France and Belgium and more. So, it'll be interesting to see once they start coming up against some decent sides how they fare. Yeah, like you say, it's wide open. So outside of no, maybe not outside of, who's been the player that surprised you so far?
I would have to say, and this sounds a bit silly to say when he's been in my team since the first game, but Gigi Wijnaldum has been brilliant, hasn't he, for Holland? He's been a bit of a snip. I actually kind of picked him really because I literally had about the money he cost left in my team, and I spotted him, and I'd read that he does play more advanced for the Netherlands, and he's been really, really good, hasn't he? I mean, the Netherlands haven't struggled for goals, and he's been involved. Certainly, the games I've watched for Netherlands, he's been brilliant. So he would be my standout.
It's a bit annoying. There's another player in the Dutch team with a similar name. I think it's Windal, because on our WhatsApp thread, one of you messaged saying, "And Windal's not even in the squad," and I was like, "Oh, typo," but amazing. Because I haven't got him, and I then look and I see he's got 2 assists and a goal, I think, and I was like, "Well, how on earth that happened?" So,
he's. Let me just have a quick look because so he scored 7 in the first game week, 3 in the second, and 13 in the last one. So,
that's decent.
And with the Czech Republic next, he could be in for some more points. So, what about you, mate? Who's been your surprise?
Who has been my surprise? Well, it's nice that the tournaments, even in this day of social media, where we feel like we're across, football a bit more than we maybe were in years gone by. And when a player comes along that you've never heard of, and Isak for Sweden, for me, it's just been a breath of fresh air. Really enjoyed watching him, and so for me, it's been him. He hasn't set the world on light in terms of point scoring on the game, but I've really, really enjoyed watching him.
Well, Sweden topped the group. Bear in mind they're in the same group as Spain, so they've done very well to do that. So they could be one to look out for in the last 16.
Yeah, and a team who for whatever reason, Ibrahimovic didn't come to this tournament despite playing in their World Cup qualifiers. So you probably, going into the tournament, we were probably thinking, well, they might be a bit shot shy up front, but they've looked pretty decent.
They have indeed.
I mean, your moment of the tournament so far?
Do you know what? It was actually the games last night. We were obviously WhatsApping each other last night during the games. It was absolutely brilliant, wasn't it? There was a stage where England were playing all of the teams in that group. We were playing Hungary, then we were playing Portugal, then we were playing France, then of course we've ended up playing the Germans, of course. Brilliant game of football. It was a bit like the last day of the championship, where anything can happen. Goals flying in everywhere. Couldn't take your eyes off it. Some brilliant football. And both teams going for it. So that would be mine. I presume yours, mate, was probably when that little car came on the pitch for the first game to bring the ball out.
Genuinely, it was. Genuinely, it was. Yeah, I mean, you've ruined it there. Yeah. That is still my favourite. That's all right. I mean, it was the very first thing that we saw in this tournament.
Amazing.
And it's still yet to be beaten. I don't know how they trump that, unless maybe a micro machine delivers it to the final. I don't know how this works. Or a Hot Wheels. Yeah, who knows? But it was magical and in a way quite special that they only did just that once and didn't just kind of bleed it until it dry. But there we go. So I thought in terms of a format tonight, what we do is we look at our teams, because people are going to be looking now. There's a wild card for everyone to be played. Are going to be looking at players to have in their squad, and I think a squad is still important, perhaps not as important as it was in the most recent game week, where players were being dropped or rested. Players are going to play their best 11, aren't they? So, but we have a wild card, and so I thought what we do is go through our team in terms of the highest value to the lowest value. We'll take it one at a time. We'll go alternate. And we'll just sort of pass comment as to why we've included them, and perhaps, gosh, who knows? We might even inspire one or two people that are listening in terms of their picks.
Yes, indeed.
All right, let's do that then. So let's start with your most expensive player. Oh no, go on.
No, I was going to say, before we do that, now the group stage is over, do we not want to talk about how we've got on so far?
Oh, you noticed I was quick to rush past that.
Well, mate, I know.
Frustrating.
We know from the first 2 podcasts how much time and effort you've put into this Euro fantasy. You really are up for it. You really want to win it. How's it gone for you so far, mate?
Well, I'm still behind both you and Phil, as always is the case.
Some things don't change, mate.
Well, what's quite amusing is a couple of weeks, maybe a week or so ago on our WhatsApp, I said, Phil said something about he just didn't care.
Yeah, he did say that, yeah.
And I was like, well, I mean, that's a shame because I'm winning, and so it would be nice for you to care about a competition where I'm actually winning it. And then he pointed out that actually no, I wasn't winning; I was behind both him and you. So yeah, it was a really tough game week 3 for me. 35 points. Yeah, really was disappointing. Olmo, I don't know where he went to.
Oh dear, yeah.
Malinowski is the biggest fraud I've seen. I was, had big hopes for him. Kimpembe got a booking and conceded 2 goals. Just all ends up, mate. It was a disaster. I think my top scorer, I had one. Oh no, I captained the right player. To be fair, I captained Unai Simon of Spain. But outside of that, it was woeful. What about you?
Well, sorry, mate. I mean, I don't mean to rub it in, but just having a quick look at your team, your midfield got 5 points between the 4, which is never a good sign, is it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna erode a bit more of this mountain. You tell me about your team.
Comfort food. Well, I mean, I've had a pretty good start in terms of our league. I'm sat second at the moment, just 1 point off our good friend Rich, who's top with 162. I've got 161, and then Phil's right on my coattails with 158. Really, my scores certainly in game weeks 1 and 3 have been built around having Lukaku as captain. Lewandowski, of course, got 2 goals. Poland went out the other night, but he still scored 2. I mean, did you see that he managed to miss a double sitter? I don't know if you saw that. Managed to miss a header from 6 yards and then hit the crossbar with the rebound. So he could have had more.
Yeah.
As we just discussed, Gigi has been pretty unbelievable for me. He scored 13. The goalkeeper, I've had John Stones in, and the goalkeeper Donnarumma from Italy. Yep. Of course, neither of those two have even conceded a goal between them yet. And Daley Blind, who we'll get onto, I'm sure, in a minute when we look at our teams going forward, but he's been a bit of a dark horse for me, and he scored another 6 points. So far, so good. And I'm a bit worried about the knockout stages because I feel like you normally talk, which is I'm feeling really confident. Which is always a worrying sign because you're always confident, and then it normally doesn't go so well, mate.
Yeah, I see. I'm quite the opposite now. The wind has been taken out of my sails, unfortunately. Yeah, tough one.
Well, let's hear it, mate. Let's start with your most expensive player then.
My most expensive. Yeah, my most expensive player. He hasn't really shone yet. He's had just flashes of brilliance and indeed pace. I've got Kylian Mbappe as my most expensive player. Switzerland up next. I fancy France to be reasonably comfortable against Switzerland. I thought they played some good stuff against Turkey. Actually, I thought they played some really good stuff against Wales in the opening game and were unfortunate. But there's that kind of feeling that surely he's going to come good soon. So yeah, Mbappe is my biggest investment at 12 million.
Mbappe is quite good for falling over to win a penalty as well, mate. As well, judging by last night. So
yeah, you don't get an assist for that. I don't know. No. Do strikers not get assists? I don't understand. The poor bloke, he assisted a perfectly good goal in week 2 and didn't get any points for that either. So, he did get a point. He did get 2 points for a penalty earned. But I'm sure that he assisted a perfectly good goal against Hungary, but didn't get rewarded for it. But there you go. Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, maybe pens against Switzerland, if nothing else. Who's your most expensive player?
Well, Lukaku, 11.2, and it seems half of the game agree with me in terms of his selection. 52% have got him, but he's got a whopping 18 points already. He got 10 in the first game week, 6 in the last one. He could have had more. He had that goal ruled out, didn't he? I think it was against Russia, which looked onside to me again. I mean, VAR actually in this tournament looks so much better than the Premier League. It almost hardly noticed it until the last couple of weeks or the last couple of games.
Yeah, I don't know about that because I was disappointed with some of the penalties given in the France-Portugal game. Not going over, having a look at the screen. I think is a bit of a shame. It's great that we get a quick answer, but we still want the right answer.
Yeah.
If you're going to have it there, you've got to get the right answer, and I don't think we got that, particularly with my man Mbappe.
That being was kind of penalty, was it?
Sort of nudged off the ball by Semedo. Not even that, just kind of getting his body in the way. So good that it hasn't been kind of painstaking, but a little disappointing that actually I think the referee should have been overruled.
I think the refereeing standard overall has been pretty good, but it feels like it's just starting to tail off a little bit. So VAR, certainly in the early games, first couple, we didn't really hear too much. Now there's a couple of dodgy offsides, and like you say, for them not to even really review that last night seemed ridiculous, because I don't think there was too many people who actually thought that was a penalty. But anyway, so Lukaku, got Portugal next, which is obviously a really tough game. Should be a really good game, that actually. Very open, I would have thought. But Portugal do like to concede goals. I think they conceded 6 across their 3 games. And Lukaku is always dangerous, so I'm hoping he'll be in the goals again.
Okay, so interesting. Neither of us then, on the basis that they're our most expensive players, have gone for Ronaldo.
No, I've not had him in. No. But I think Belgium are going to win this game, mate. To be honest with you, so Ronaldo, you can never keep a good man down. He's always good for a penno as well. But no, Ronaldo is not. There's no space for Ronaldo in my team.
Okay, I'll give you my second most expensive player then, and that is Kevin De Bruyne. You got him?
I have. He's my second as well, mate. Yeah, I've just brought him in today. Yeah. I mean, he came on, and didn't he? It was against Denmark. He came on at halftime and turned the game. He looked unbelievable. Scored 10 points in that game. He's actually still fairly low, actually. Ownership, I would suggest, 23%. So... But again, he's obviously pricey side, 10.6 mil. But 16 points just from his 2 games. He just looks, like the Kevin De Bruyne who turns up week in, week out for Manchester City, doesn't he? So, again, I think there's going to be goals in that game. And I think Belgium are going to win. So I think hopefully we'll get some good points from him on this one.
Okay. Third most then. And this is my first pick that is based predominantly on the draw. And I've got Memphis Depay, 10.1 million. I know that a number of people had him in right from the start. For me, he's looked there in terms of their attackers. He's their biggest threat without any shadow of a doubt. He does a lot of good work. He's creative, makes good runs into the channels. I just think that side of the draw is pretty tasty. So Czech Republic for them, I think they win that, and I think they win it fairly comfortably. And I think he'll be in amongst the goals. Have you got Depay?
No, I do not. No, I'll tell you who my third highest player is. Just again brought him in today. Yeah, somebody who you were championing, I believe, on the last pod. Gareth Bale. And again, I've looked at the fixtures on this. Now, this is a game, I think, with the situation with Denmark and Christian Eriksen, I think feels a bit like Denmark is everyone's second team, really. But I've been really impressed with Wales. And actually, it's a real shame these two are playing each other, because I would love to see both of them in the quarterfinals. But I'm still not massively convinced by Denmark overall. I mean, they thrashed Russia, didn't they? Scored some beauties in that game. But I still think this game could go either way, could swing either way, and I think this could be the moment for Gareth Bale to shine. So again, he's what we like to call the old differential, mate. Only 6%, scored 9 points in the game against the dark horses, Turkey. So I'm sticking my neck out a little bit with this one, admittedly, but Gareth Bale, you heard it here first. I reckon he's going to have a good game week.
I feel like that this is the game where it unravels for Wales. There's your soundbite. Clip it, please, for us, Phil.
Phil, where are you?
But I think it unravels for them. I think we underestimated Denmark a touch following that Finland loss, and we all know that there were reasons behind that. But they're 10th in the world in terms of world ranking, and they've got some exciting young players. I think they have momentum, for sure. They have momentum. And I think you have a squad that, for all the wrong reasons, sadly, have been galvanized. And in a way that no other squad is going to be. An experience like that, it has to bring people together. So I think they're a real tour de force in this side of the draw. Do you think? Yeah, go on.
No, I was just going to say, do you think Wales have Wales impressed you so far? Do you think they looked good against Turkey, didn't they? Switzerland, they played okay in patches, but and Italy, to be fair, they played a lot of the game with 10 men, but Italy were through, weren't they? So weren't really at full pace. But I still think this game could go either way.
I'm really, really not convinced by Wales. I think they flattered to deceive a little bit in the tournament. I think yes, they beat Turkey, but despite my kind of protestations that Turkey would be a fantastic team, they were one of, if not the poorest team. Yeah, we'll give a shout out to Scotland where that's concerned as well. But I think definitely one of the poorer teams. And they look good in that game. The first game, I was really, really disappointed by them against Switzerland. And they played their full strength team, Wales, really against a second string from Italy and barely saw the ball. So no, please don't change your mind.
I won't.
This team is locked in. But yeah, not for me, Clive.
Okay,
hey, we'll see. Okay, so that's our third. Now, fourth, I'm going to have to work back and do a bit of maths here. Fourth, marginally, I've gone from Insigne, very popular from week one. This Insigne,
me too, mate. Me too.
Okay. Talk to me because he's had a quieter. Well, he didn't play in the third round. 8 points on match day one. Match day two, only the 3 points. That was just for a clean sheet. Wasn't involved in any goals. Why are we getting drawn to him?
To me, he just looks so dangerous, doesn't he? I mean, he looks about 3 foot tall, but he always looks dangerous. I'm quite surprised he's not got more points, to be honest with you, because he did look, like I say, unfortunately, Turkey will turn out to be really poor, but he did look really lively in that first game week. And I think, certainly with Insigne, you're looking partly to do with the fixtures, aren't you, here? Austria, really winnable game for Italy. Yeah. He's obviously had that rest in match week 3, so he should be fit, should be ready to go. Italy, as we talked about, probably looking the most impressive team, both at the back and going forward. So I would expect him to come up trumps really in this game. Austria have done well, I think, haven't they, to get this far? But I'm not expecting him to cause Italy any problems. Are you?
No, I think of all the round of 16 ties, this is the one that feels the easiest to call. I think if you look at the odds with the bookies, they reflect that. He's on set plays. That's why I've got him in there. 8.6 feels quite an investment, but yeah, a combination of playing Austria. He may well come out if they end up playing Belgium in the quarters. I may well bring him out at that point. But certainly for this week, we've got a wild card to play. Let's play it, and yeah, I'm gonna have him in there.
Yep, agreed.
Okay, 8.6. I dropped just to 8.5.
Ooh,
Paul of the Pogba.
Wow. Okay.
I mean,
okay. Talk me through that, mate.
Well, look, we've heard a lot already about the fact that he looks a different player in a French shirt, and he very much does. He's playing in an advanced role, and he's able to do that because of the nicest man in football, N'Golo Kante. He of the Mini Cooper. He just looks a real attacking threat.
Looked a good last night, didn't he?
Yeah, and he passes forward. He's always looking for a forward pass. And actually, that midfield, he is the one that's showing any creativity in the French midfield. You'll probably have, well, depending on injuries, you'll probably have Rabiot back in the middle alongside him, and it's him that's looking to be positive on the ball. So again, 8.5. It's a bit of an investment, but I think he's worth having.
Just out of interest, what's his ownership look like at the moment, percentage-wise? Have you got that to hand? Agree with you.
Yeah, 11%.
Okay, yeah, so he's a differential as well, really. That's low, isn't it? So I think that's a good shout, mate. He's, like you say, he is a completely different player for France, or seems to be. Really unlucky not to get on the score sheet last night. I thought he looked really good. And I think what you made, that point that you made about Kante is a really good point. Kante being there to protect him allows him to go forward more. And he does look really good, really dangerous. I like that shout. So mine,
go on,
go down to 8.1 for me. We've already covered him. We don't know where he's going to be playing his club football next season yet, I don't think. But Gigi Wijnaldum, 8.1, had him in since the start. Has been in the points for me, really. Done really, really well. 7 in the first week and then 13 last. And the Czechs up next for Holland. We've covered it. I think we expect them to win that. Czech were probably pretty poor the other night, weren't they? Well, I mean, they were playing England, so but yeah, they didn't really create much. Holland, I thought in their games, they look leaky, but they look good going forward. I think they're a team to watch in terms of the entertainment factor. And
Yeah,
Gigi,
I think if you're looking at Dutch assets, you're looking at midfielders and attackers. You're not looking at defenders, with the one exception who I'll come to later. But yeah. So he's actually, his move has been confirmed to PSG. So
has it?
He will. That's right. So he'll be playing there next season. But yeah, I can understand it. I'm kind of shying away from it because I know a lot of my friends have already got him, including yourself. Mm-hmm. And I've got some catching up to do, as is the tradition. So I'm going to have to leave him out of it. Okay. Then we drop. I know I don't drop that much actually. I've mentioned him already. Isak for Sweden. Sweden playing Ukraine. I think this could be his week. I bought him in 2 weeks ago off the back of the first match day because I've just really liked the look of him, and that's dangerous, isn't it? Just picking players because you just like them.
Yes, indeed.
But I'm going to stick with it and hope that he comes good. If you're looking at a third striker option, then I think at 8 million, he's certainly an option. And the opposition being the Ukraine, I think certainly for this game week, I think he's a good look.
Okay, yeah. Well, my next one at the moment, but I may make a change in terms of substitute.
Oh, okay.
At the moment, he is the next price anyway. So if you thought Gareth Bale was a funny choice in my team, especially from Wales, you're going to love who my second striker is, mate. Cardiff City legend Kiefer Moore.
So he's your second striker?
Yeah, he is, mate. Yeah, 1%.
Oh wow,
the ultimate differential. He's got 8 points. 5 of those did come in the first game week against Switzerland. I mean, I've for some reason, I'm not sure myself yet. I have every faith that Wales are going to beat Denmark, and part of this was because I was running out of money seriously, and I was scraping the barrel a little bit. I'll be honest. I've put a lot of money into my midfield, as we've just discussed.
Yeah.
But you never know. I think Kiefer Moore, mate, this could be his moment. He could bang in the goal to fire Wales into the quarterfinal. I know we're going to agree to disagree on this one, but yeah, I think if I had more money, if I'm being brutally honest, I probably wouldn't be looking to bring him in. But at that kind of money, there wasn't much else around. Certainly, there wasn't many strikers even getting any game time for that kind of money. So I think he's guaranteed to start. So you never know, mate. I tell you what, it's one of those. If Wales do go out, I'm going to look like a Wally, and if they go through and he scores, I could look like a hero here. So I'm putting my neck on the line on this one.
I think it's interesting that you've put so much money into your midfield. Obviously, we're going to unpack your midfielders some more, but to have Kiefer Moore as your second striker. I could kind of understand him being in there as your third striker and making up the numbers, but your second striker, that's pretty gung ho. Okay, it's quite a big drop then for me because I'm all about having a bit of depth in my squad. So next up for me is actually a defender. I've gone for Hernandez of France. Digne and him have been alternating in terms of the left back slot. But Digne came off with an injury yesterday, didn't look too good. So I fully expect Hernandez to start. He's a player that gets far forward for them, right up front on that left side. At 6.6 million, he's an expensive defender.
He is,
but with a Switzerland team who haven't looked prolific up against him, I'm happy with that as a 6.6 million investment. If you think that, how much you spent on Kiefer Moore?
6.6.
Yeah. So if you think that you've spent 6.6 million on Kiefer Moore, who's up front, and the chances of him getting anything more than 2 points are pretty slim, I would say that 6.6 million invested in a defender who bombs on and is at home, or not at home. Well, he may well be at home to Switzerland. That feels like actually not a bad shout.
Yeah, no, agreed. No, like I say, that is a lot of money because I go all the way down now in terms of my defence and my goalkeeper to 5.6 million, and I've got four players sat on that, and I'll start with John Stones of England, 5.6 million. England, of course, I think one of only 2 teams not to have conceded a goal so far in the tournament, along with Italy. Admittedly, I think you have to look at the opposition England have faced so far, and they've been pretty poor, haven't they? England haven't played well, but I guess the only thing you could say, they've been pretty professional. They got the job done. Is the Germans next, who do look leaky at the back, don't they? But they also do look like they got some goals in them. So this could be the game, unfortunately, I think, where England may concede. But yeah, I've kept faith of him. So I feel like you've got to have at least one Englishman in your team. I did have Mason Mount in. Well, maybe it's a bit like when Bournemouth were in the Premier League. I always used to have at least one Bournemouth player in there, which never worked out well, to be honest with you. Had Mason Mount in as my one Englishman previously. Of course, as we know, the farcical situation with him having to isolate and probably won't play in the next game. So yeah, I've gone with Mr. Stones. So we shall see.
Okay.
He's formed a good partnership with Tyrone Mings, didn't he? And he looked pretty good alongside Harry Maguire. So he looks pretty solid, I'll say that.
Okay. I've gone down to 6.2 now. I'm into midfield again. I've gone for Joshua Kimmich. 2 assists for Germany so far in the tournament. Both of those came in game week 2 against Portugal. I like the look of him. He seems to be playing in a more advanced position than he does for Bayern. And at 6.2 million, given that if they get through against England, he's a pretty cheap asset who should make it. Well, I fancy Germany to beat us, ever the optimist. If they get through, the draw is pretty kind. So yeah, I've got him in there at 6.2.
Funnily enough, mate, he's on my bench, but he's the one I'm like that between him and Kiefer Moore about who to start. It's just I don't like the thought of starting 4-5-1.
No, okay,
but I have got a lot of money tied up in midfield, so I may still do that yet. Who knows? But in terms of my current starting team, so I've got another 5.6 here, which is Denzel Dumfries. So you had a great shout in week number 2. You captained him, didn't you? And he got 14 points. And again, a lot of people jumped on that bandwagon. Now 33% have got him. But again, for me, it was the fixtures. Again, Czech Republic didn't look like they got much going forward. Again, I've put so much money into my midfield, as we've discussed, and I think he still provides potentially good value for money. Holland have looked leaky at the back, but the Czechs, I don't think they like scoring, and I can see them hopefully keeping a clean sheet. So yeah, he's my second defender, sat there on 5.6.
Well, I too have Denzel Dumfries. So why would I get rid of him?
Exactly.
He's been such a good asset for me. So he fills that void. So no, I've got another one in there.
Go on.
So that's okay. So I'm one ahead of you here, but because I'm giving you my full squad, to be clear, not just my starting.
Okay. Yeah.
One of the breakout stars of the tournament, Locatelli.
Yeah.
5.7 million. This boy loves a shot. He got 3 points match day 1. Good solid performance, but 14 points match day 2, and was then rested. So we'll definitely play. And against Austria, 5.7 million for Locatelli feels a snip. Yeah,
agreed. Yeah, that's a really good shout. So on to mine then. If we're looking at in terms of value, because actually this player sat on my bench, 8.5 is Severovic of Switzerland. Now, he's pricey, I would suggest. He's actually got less than 1% ownership.
I'm going to take you to task on this straight away. So you've spent 8.5 million on Seferovic to put him on your bench, but you're starting Kiefer Moore.
Yes, come on, Kiefer Moore. Well, this is where I think I may have a few decisions to make yet. In fact, actually, to be honest with you, I hadn't actually noticed this until I was going back over my team, that he is as much as 8.5 million, because actually, in reality, that feels a bit mad. I wonder if that's based around the fact that he did get 7 points against Turkey, including a bonus point for scoring outside the box. Yeah, that might need some looking at, because that's a lot of money tied up on the bench.
Well, you did say that your team's locked in, and I have to take your first answer on that. So,
okay,
for the purposes of the podcast, it would be to do all this and then rip up our team and start again tomorrow.
This is true.
It would lack integrity. So I fully expect us both to lock in these teams.
Okay, that's fine. But yeah, he is also playing against France, so I'm going to have an 8.5 player sat on my bench.
In the hope that what? Because you're not expecting him to qualify, presumably.
Kiefer Moore will pick up an injury in the warm-up, and
right.
He'll get injured. Severovic will come on off my bench and score against France. Of course it's going to happen.
It's a curious selection.
It is.
It's a curious selection, but
it feels like a selection that was made in haste without much thought.
Well, we'll find out, won't we? Because like I say, it is locked in.
It is.
Give us another one, mate, because I'm one ahead of you.
Yeah, 5.6 again. Spinazzola of Italy. He's looked really impressive. He did get a rest in week 3, but scored 9 in the first week, 6 in the second. He's got 15 points, 5.6 again, fairly cheap. And again, we covered it. Austria, it looks a slam dunk, doesn't it, for Italy? Italy haven't conceded. One of only 2 to not, and 24% of players. So he's fairly high ownership. But I think I think you're almost guaranteed a clean sheet. This could come back to bite me now, but almost guaranteed a clean sheet with Italy at the moment. What's their record, including like qualification? They haven't conceded a goal for about 10 games, 13, have they? It's ridiculous.
13 games, I think.
13 games. There you go. Absolutely ridiculous. So, feels like at least 6 points there for me with him. So yeah, he's my joint highest price defender there, 5.6.
And of course, fans of the show, and in particular the feature Player or Cheese, will have heard of Spinazzola because he was featured in said. Presumably, if he was one of the players after the first 2 or 3, but getting towards kind of number 18, 19, people probably had switched off by that point and don't remember him. But
Player or Cheese, I think that was probably our highlight, wasn't it, last season?
Well, maybe not. Debatable. Okay. I'll drop down a bit more then to 5.2 now.
Ooh.
Some might think this is a quacker's decision, but I've gone for Goossens. Goossens of Germany. I was really impressed. I'd never heard of him, I'll be honest. Prior to this tournament, 14 points in match day 2 against Portugal. I really like the look of him. It appears that a number of other people do. He's up to 16% ownership. He was much lower than that last week. But yeah, I think they probably qualify against us, and then they play Sweden or Ukraine. So I'm looking with one eye on the future with that, as well as this coming Tuesday.
Yeah, like that, mate. So my next one, still 5.6. My fourth player, 5.6 value, is my goalkeeper, Gianluigi Donnarumma of Italy. Hasn't he been Italy's number 1 since he was about 17 or something ridiculous? He does look way beyond his years. He's still only about 22, but anyway, barely faced a shot, has he? I don't think in the tournament so far. Safe as houses. 18 points from the 3, 5.6 again. I think again is value for money. And as we've already covered, Austria, you would expect them to keep a clean sheet. So yeah, for me, you'll see why you'd even look at any other goalkeeper, really.
Okay. So I'll ask the question. I'll challenge it slightly if you don't mind.
Of course, go for it.
5.6 million for a goalkeeper. How many Italy defenders are there that are going to start that you would pay that would cost you 5.6 or less? I'm just thinking about how you're apportioning your money, because obviously the chances of beyond a clean sheet, which obviously they share the points on that with the defenders anyway. Beyond a clean sheet with a keeper, you're not likely to pick up many bonus points. Again, you say they've not really conceded any shots, so he's not going to get any bonus points for additional saves or whatever. So would you not be better spending that 5.6 million on an Italian defender?
Potentially, but I mean, 6 points is actually quite good, mate. When you think your whole midfield got 5 points the other night, if you're guaranteed 6 points from one player, that's pretty good, isn't it?
Oh no, but it is. But you'd be guaranteed that and have the potential for more with a defender.
This is true. I mean, I could have taken out Mr. Stones and put in. Oh no, in fact, no, I can't, can I? Because you can only have 3 from one team, can't you? Is that right?
No, you can only have. I think you can have 4 now.
Can you have 4? Oh, okay. Well, I could take out John Stones and bring in another Italian, but I do want an Englishman in there. So by hook or by crook, I'm keeping Mr. Stones in there. But no, agreed. Yeah, it is a good point.
I mean, I'm just looking quickly now. You've got Spinazzola, who you've mentioned there at 5.6.
Yeah.
Bonucci at 5.6. Toloi.
Chiellini. Oh, he's injured, isn't he?
You want to take a look at Toloi, mate? 4.5. He's played the last 2 games.
Okay.
He's had an assist as well, and he's 4.5 million.
Okay.
Toloi, guys, remember you heard it here. You've got Asabi at 5.1. You've got Di Lorenzo at 5.1. You've got Bastoni, who presumably played just against Wales. Yes, he did, at 4.5. But like I say, if you've got 5.6 million pounds to invest on an Italian player, I'm not sure that. I'd be looking at a keeper. But anyway, you've done it now. Okay. So, like I say, locked in.
Locked in. I was going to say it's locked in. It's tough.
Okay. Right. Where do I go next? So I gave you Goossens, didn't I, last time?
You did.
So we're rattling through now. Next up for me is my keeper. You've got to have a keeper that plays, and I think 5 million is perhaps a more sensible spend. So I've gone for Kasper Schmeichel.
Okay. Well,
the people's champ.
That's a terrible choice because he's going to concede at least 2 to keep him all. So there you go. Terrible choice, mate.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, I've just remembered you started this podcast saying how confident you were.
I genuinely am, mate. Keep him all.
Are you still confident?
I'm still confident. I can see you trying to, belittle my team. Knock it down, mate. It's not going to work.
Okay. Kasper Schmeichel. What a human being, really.
Yeah, indeed.
Beautiful Nordic looks, charm in bucket loads, and just a wonderful human being and goalkeeper. Indeed. What a career he's managed to carve out for himself. So Kasper Schmeichel again blocking out Kiefer Moore and keeping some clean sheet points. Who's next on your list?
Well. Again, a player with very low ownership, 5%. Daley Blind of the Netherlands. So 2 clean sheets in the last 2 games, 5.2 million. And also in game week 1, he was brought off in the 64th minute before they conceded the 2 goals to Ukraine. So he got 6 points. So he's one of those players that, he might get brought off, but he gets the clean sheet points. Happy days.
He didn't look very happy when he was brought off either.
No.
I'm not sure. Is it Daley Blind? It is Daley Blind, isn't it? Not Daley Blind.
You could call him Daley Blind if you want. I think it's.
Oh, in which case, he didn't see it coming, the substitution. But yeah,
boom.
I don't know about Blind, but then you're right. He is starting.
He's starting. He's got 18 points from 3 games for a defender. That's good. And I didn't see.
That's just clean sheet points, isn't it?
It is, but 6 points is pretty good, though, mate. I'd suggest. I mean, yes, I know you 5.2.
Okay.
If I have I'll have a little look while you're talking amongst yourselves. A player you might be able to get for a similar price, but I'd say he's pretty in terms of his points, in terms of his value. I'd say that's pretty good.
Okay, 5.2. All right. Well, I will offer you a couple of other defensive options cheaper than that in a moment. But next up for me is my sub keeper.
Yeah.
I'm obviously torn as to quite what happens here, but Stekelenburg has come out of nowhere to be the goalkeeper for the Netherlands, and he's done very nicely. Those clean sheets you talk about. Obviously, he played the full 90 in matchday 1, and so only got the 2 points. But since then, 2 clean sheets. You concede points for conceding 2 goals, so he lost 1 there. But a total of 14 points so far. At 4.7 million, and with that side of the draw as well, I think that's not a bad shout, old Steckers.
Okay. Well, I've actually got, because I was running out of money, I've actually got a goalkeeper who doesn't play. But obviously that doesn't matter because.
Well, that's the gamble then, is that you've only got the one keeper. Okay.
And it's lost a lot of Denmark. Nothing to really say. 4.5 million. Hasn't played a minute, but as we know, unless Donnarumma comes down with an injury in the last minute, I have really put most of my money here into my starting team, Kiefer Moore. I have not got the thing that would frustrate or is annoying when you have 2 goalkeepers who play like you can guarantee you get it one way around. For example, in game week 1, I had the Finnish goalkeeper who saved the penalty and got 13 points, who was sat on my bench. So there is that frustration if you have one who does well.
I feel like, and I just want to check something out before I carry on. I feel like there's something, because you didn't listen to the podcast, did you?
What, last week?
No.
Well, I heard a bit about where Phil said he couldn't ride a bike.
That was the point at which he switched off.
Yeah.
Listeners, regular listeners will know that I think Ant, in this whole theory, is missing a slight trick, but not a trick that I'm going to talk about.
Oh no!
Here and now, you'd have to listen back to the previous two podcasts. But I feel like you are missing a trick with the way you set your team up. But anyway, like I say, it's locked in.
No.
So
I'll work it out. Okay.
And
is there a way to get all of your players getting points? Is this what I've missed?
No, okay. Well, no, there's not a way to do that. No.
Okay. All right.
But there you go. Okay. Right. Next up, then for me, then we really are now moving into cheap defensive assets, but ones that I still think will play. And I've gone for Pau Torres of Spain. 6 points first match day, followed up by 1, and then the 4. He's got an assist in that kind of 5-0 win this week. Pau Torres is only 4.6 million.
Wow. Okay.
And they play Croatia, who turned it on against Scotland, but apart from that, have looked pretty mediocre.
Okay.
4.6 million. You like that?
Yeah, that's
I've still got one more. I've still got one more.
Oh,
I've still got one more. But yeah, go on. Have you got 2 more? One more?
No, I've got one more.
Go on.
Again, a player who's only got 4 points, probably won't play, but he's a Croatian defender playing against Spain, so I'm not expecting him to come on. In fact, I kind of hope he doesn't come on. Sime Vrsaljko. Is that how you pronounce it? Probably not.
I'm going to say almost certainly not.
Yeah, he's cheap. He's cheerful. And
is he cheerful?
Yeah.
Is he cheerful? I'd imagine he's a bit peed off that he's not playing.
Oh, actually. Oh, yeah. No, he's got a lovely tash looking at his picture. Yeah, so I'm not expecting anything from him. So he's just going to be clogging up my bench there, mate. So, yeah.
All right. Well,
who's your last player then?
I'll give you another bit of value then.
Go on then.
Joachim Mayela. Okay. Joachim Mayela for Denmark.
Okay. Right. Yeah. You do love the Danes.
Yeah, I do love the Danes because they're playing Wales. He scored. He scored for Denmark in their win against Russia in the week. He played 90 minutes in a game that they had to win. So it's not like a lot of the teams that rotated in week 3. They had to play their strongest team.
Yeah.
And I like him a lot. And he is 4.5 million. Wow,
that is a bargain. You've got some real good bargains, mate.
Thanks. You've
raided the bargain bin.
I have. I've waited. I've gone in there. I know that at 8:05, they start getting the orange labels out, and I've got involved.
Best time of the day.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, there we go. That's our teams then, gang. So plenty of picks there for you to be considering. And yeah, we've got a few. Oh, Kiefer Moore. I don't really mind the Kiefer Moore thing. Like, have a bit of fun with that. Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
What is totally baffling me is that you've got an 8.5 million striker planning. You're putting him on your bench.
Yeah, no. In reality, I've missed his price. I thought he was about 6 or 6.5, not 8.5, which, as you rightly point out, seems like absolute madness. Especially when you've got about 5 players who cost far less than him in your starting 11. But just quickly then, mate, what formation are you playing then?
I am playing the 3-4-3.
Oh, lovely. 3-4-3. Okay.
Yeah. I'm playing. It was a toss up as to I haven't quite settled on my starting 11, but that's one heck of a squad. So. And it's a squad of players that will all play. So yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Okay.
And yeah, like I say, you've definitely missed. I think you've missed a trick. But anyway, the moment's passed. So
damn, I should have got the rule book out, or just indeed listen to our own podcast.
Yeah, well, you know. Well, look, and it's been lovely. I mean, we miss Phil dearly, and we look forward to welcoming him back next week when we'll find a low moment and we'll pounce on it and fill it with football wonder Fantasy Football
Indeed.
Wonder. We'll do that next week sometime. But
Look forward to it.
from me and Ant, it's a big thank you for listening, and we send our love to young Philip. We're on Twitter. The Twitter handle, if I don't know how you come across us, to be honest. If you could be listening on TuneIn, I guess, or Podbean, or whatever it is we use as a platform. What's the name of our Twitter handle?
At FPL Threesome Pod.
And we should mention to those that have come with us over the last 12 months that the FPL fantasy football is out.
Indeed, it is. In fact, young Phil has already picked a little draft team there, isn't he? He's,
me too.
Oh, have you now?
Me too. Yeah,
Do
and
we
I should say,
cover this.
Yeah, just really quickly then. But I do want to just apologise. I called it the Fantasy FPL, which is a bit like saying for your FYI. It's already in the acronym. No, do you know what? Let's keep our cards close to our chest on the FPL one and save it for the launch, because we'll do it with Phil and we'll pick his team to pieces. Indeed,
we will. And it does feel like, still 2 months away from season starting, that undoubtedly, certainly your teammate will be changing several times over before we get to August.
Yeah, I have opened up the spreadsheet, yet to fill it out, but ready to rock and roll with that.
I look forward to that, mate. I look forward to it.
Guys, listen, whatever you're doing, especially if you're eating Toblerone, please do stay safe. And we'll catch you next week from me and Anne and Phil, kind of in a not posthumous, kind of distant, remote way.
In spirit.
We'll say cheerio.
Goodbye now. Enjoy the football.
Bye now.